So today we're going to be running through some testimonies. And this is not just a formality, this is actually a core part of our worship. Who knows that our stories matter? You guys agree? You agree? So the book of Hebrews, the chapter 11, is actually the only chapter in the whole book of Hebrews that doesn't mention Jesus. It just talks about what people accomplished through faith. And it kind of connects all of the pieces of the puzzle together. And I'm just going to flip through it very quickly. It says, now faith is the confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. And then it goes through this whole long list. It says, by faith we understand that the universe was formed. By faith we understand that God spoke and the universe came into being. By faith, Abel brought God a better sacrifice. I'm just skipping forward. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By faith, Abraham, when called to a place which he would later receive as his inheritance, he obeyed and went. Even though he did not know where he was going, he obeyed and went. Carries on. By faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. All these people were living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. Ouch. They did not receive promise. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Like these three fine young gentlemen here, foreigners and strangers in this land. None of them born here, and yet called here, called to be here, called. It says all these people were living by faith when they died. People who say such things show that they are looking for a country of their own. If they had been thinking about the country they had left, they would have had opportunity to return. Instead, they were longing for a better country, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. And so it goes on. That was just a little interlude. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, he offered Isaac as a sacrifice. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months. By faith, Moses. And so it goes on. The lineage of them. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell. By faith, the prostitute Rahab doesn't glance over her past, but connects her into this everlasting story of the gospel. She welcomed the spies and was not killed with those who were disobedient. And what more shall I say? I don't have time to talk about Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, about David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised. They shut the mouths of lions, they quenched the fury of flames, they escaped the edge of the sword, whose weakness was turned to strength, and who became powerful in battle and routed foreign armies. This is the story that these gentlemen today connect to. By faith, women received back their dead, raised to life again. And then there were others who were tortured, refused to being released so that they may gain even a better inheritance. Some faced jeers, flogging, chains, and imprisonment. And so it goes on. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised. And listen to this. Listen, this is the important bit. None of them received what had been promised, since God had planned something better for us. For us. In this room, God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect. So our stories matter. Our stories are connected into every one of these that I've just read, and it will be connected to every one that comes afterwards, because that is what God is building. It's not just the individual. Actually, it's his story that he's weaving through every one of ours, and so they matter, what we go through. And so what we're going to hear today is 3 stories that are really quite near the beginning of their story. Yeah, you know, even though so much has happened, these are 19-year-old, 19 now, hey? 3 19-year-old men who have gone through some difficult times and yet have come out of it with a sense of God is, I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's doing something. And that's what we're going to hear today. And what I want you to listen for in it is, how does your story connect into what God is doing? Might not be an easy story that you're kind of facing right now, but what is he doing that kind of connects you to this lineage of heroes of the faith that we see, which we get to play a part in? And at the end of this, I'm going to ask you to have a conversation with God, maybe with one or two other people around you, to say, God, put courage in me today. Put courage in me today that I can live this out, that I won't shrink back, that I'm not going to retreat back. Actually, even if I don't know where you're calling me, I'm going to go because you're worthy of that. So that was a very long introduction to some testimonies. I forget who's going first. There we go. Okay, come on, Asher. All right. Well, over to you.
All right. Everyone can hear me? Awesome. Let me just get my notes up just in case. All right. Well, as JP said, my name is Asher, and I'll be sharing just a bit of my story for the past year with all of you guys. So the best place to begin, I think, would be sort of right before A-levels, like deciding whether I wanted to do university, what the next step was, pretty much. And I felt really confident in the Lord that I did want to go to university. I really enjoyed the academic side of school, and just really felt like that was the right next step after through some prayer, some thought with my parents, my family. And so really the decision came down to where I wanted to go and what I wanted to study. In terms of what to study, I studied maths, further maths A-level. I really enjoyed maths in school. I had no idea what I wanted to do for a career after university. And so for that reason, I just figured may as well keep going with maths. That's what I'm enjoying. I can leave open a lot of possible pathways. And in terms of where, well, my family and I, we'd sort of discussed maybe doing university in the United States, but after some careful thought and prayer, decided it's really far away and also far more expensive. So I figured it would maybe be best to stay in the UK, the education system that I'd been in. And so I visited 2 unis. I visited St. Andrews and Durham, and they were both amazing. I really felt like the Lord was calling me to St. Andrews. There's Young Life Ministry up there, which for those of you who don't know, my parents work for. I've been volunteering with just youth ministry, which played a big part. It's also 4 years instead of 3 years, like a lot of England unis. So that was a draw as well. It's a bit more of a mix between American and UK style, very international, which was also a draw. And so I got offer from St. Andrews of A-star, A-star A, which is quite lofty. And as I did maths, further maths, physics, and Spanish, I did maths in my first year of sixth form. And St. Andrews or Scottish unis, I'm not quite sure which, the system dictates that you have to have 3 A-levels done in the same sitting. So I couldn't actually count my maths A-level from the first year, which I got an A-star in, meaning I needed A-star, A-star A in further maths, physics, and Spanish. That led to a lot of coming out of exams feeling very uncertain, like have I done enough to get where I want to go? And so A-levels, finished those, felt like there was a pretty good chance, but still not sure, maybe 50-50 more or less, whether I'd end up at St. Andrews or not. And so went into the summer, went to summer camp with these guys and a couple others in this room. Absolutely amazing, run by Young Life, volunteering there. Was a really, really great time. I think helped to settle me a little bit. Still in the back of my mind, there was that just sense of anxiety, like uncertainty, not knowing what was coming. And so results day rolls around. We're in the U.S. Visiting family. I distinctly remember we were in like a hotel, South Carolina, visiting my dad's mom or grandmother, and I couldn't sleep at all that night because results here come out like 8, 9 in the morning. So with the time difference, that's like 4 or 5 a.m. And I was like, I need to be awake in case there's like I have to go into clearing, everything goes really badly. And so I couldn't sleep a wink. Mom and Dad, they went to bed. They were like, we'll wake up with you and see what the outcome is. And so I'm laying in bed like on my phone trying to ignore this sense like of really uncertainty in my mind and just trying to be really prayerful and like wherever I end up, the Lord is going to use me in the most amazing way. And so results come around and I see that I did in fact scrape A-star A and managed to get into St. Andrews, so that was amazing. Thank you. And after that, it was extremely quick turnaround. Results day is like August 14th or 15th, and the course starts September 7th. So we're in the U.S. We have to come back, get all my stuff packed up in England, head to Scotland, get moved in. And I'm just really grateful for how steadfast my parents, my brother were in that time. It's just amazing seeing the Lord through them. Yeah, please. And yeah, just really grateful for how smooth that transition was. It could have been a lot worse, and just how I didn't really struggle with a sense of like loneliness being away from home for such extended periods of time or anything like that. I found a really great church community very early on. Cornerstone Church up in St. Andrews. If any of you ever come to visit, please come for a service. It's great. And maybe the third or fourth weekend that I was there, there was like an undergraduate church weekend away. And I was a little bit reluctant to go. I'd let some work pile up by that point. And so after some prodding from some friends and some of the leaders in church, I relented and I went, and it was absolutely incredible. Amazing teaching and time of worship, and just really set the tone for the year strengthening friendships. And so I've been really grateful for this past year. It's been absolutely incredible. Definitely some room for growth in like picking up my Bible and reading that every day. Like maybe for a week I'll do it every morning. It's really good, and then I'll miss a day, and all of a sudden you've missed a week of doing that. So some real room for growth in that area. And then another big challenge has been managing Christian friendships with non-Christian friendships. Some of the best friends that I've made up there aren't followers of Jesus, and so really trying to balance being a good witness of Christ to them, but also recognizing that they're not going to help me grow in my faith, and maybe needing to take a step back from those non-Christian friendships until I can impact them more than they impact me, has been something I've been thinking a lot about. But I've been really grateful for this past year. Still a little bit of uncertainty ahead where I'm living next year. Don't have a house yet, so Mom's making a face at me. Please be praying for that. That'd be amazing. Me and this guy, JJ Ewing, some of you might know him. We're planning to live together. He goes to St. Andrews as well. Been applying to a lot of houses, haven't gotten one yet. So, yeah, some real uncertainty. I would love some clarity there. And then also deciding whether to do a master's degree, integrated master's, St. Andrews offers, if you do maths. This year I can take all maths, and then that opens up a path for a master's in 1 extra year of study instead of 2. So weighing that up, whether that's worth it, whether I just want to get my bachelor's in 4 years and start work. So some clarity there would be amazing as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. That's just been a bit of my story for the past year.
Hi everyone, my name's Keahan. If I had to sort of think back a year ago, I was also to sort of the same point, finishing my A-levels. Although I had a sort of a very different experience of school, sort of took very academic subjects and maybe not as, I didn't probably enjoy it as much as Asher did in his school, and I sort of came out of my exams sort of really uncertain and not sure where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, as the subjects that I had taken, I didn't really see any interest in taking any career paths, and specifically sort of the university route initially. So with all that uncertainty, I decided I'd take a gap year, sort of take a break from school after a lot of stress and stuff like that throughout my school years, and just try and figure myself out and see what I wanted to do. And then sort of about a month after my last exam, as Asher mentioned, I got invited to go serve at camp in Canberra, which was such an amazing opportunity, and I really got to sort of get my first real experience of what it is to sort of lay your life down to service, and because it was really just working the whole day. It was a lot more work than I've ever done in any sort of job that I actually got paid for. So, or any other job, yes. But it was absolutely incredible experience, and it was such a big learning curve for me, just to say that I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for those around me, and just the way that I could experience the joy I gave to others through serving. So I went up, I got placed in a serving role. Asher was also a server, so we were in charge of the dining hall, and that was sort of all sorts of jobs, but our main job was bringing out food to the campers, and just seeing the joy on everyone's face as we bring these nice meals out on these big silver platters towards all the hungry teenagers was something I'll never forget. And it was just such a nice, I mean, the campgrounds are beautiful, and it was such a place away from everything else, all of the worries in life, where I felt that God's presence was really there, and you could just see it in everyone. The staff that were there, and even in the campers, you could just see the light of the Lord just shining through everyone. And it was a really huge impact on my faith, and with regards to just being able to read the Bible, being able to be around Christian friends, and making those new, like, I've made friends for life from that experience. So that was a really huge, for me in my faith, getting to go there, and I'll be forever grateful. Sort of coming out after camp and sort of had a little dead time where I wasn't really doing anything, I decided that I needed to get a job to earn some money, while I sort of figured things out, which I did. And then sort of started looking into apprenticeships, courses, and sort of trying to think of something that I could be doing to move myself forward, and not just sit and do nothing for my gap year, but pick something that says, okay, this is going to add to whatever career I eventually decide to do. But yeah, so sort of a big thing for me was just being really uncertain. Don't know what I want to do. I still don't know really what I want to do. But just throughout this year, I've just been really be able to ground myself in the Lord and just say, listen, I want to entrust this to you, because I know that everything will happen in your timing. And I've just really been able to practice patience and waiting in the Lord, in the way that in my uncertainty, I look to Him and say, I know that it'll all happen in your timing. Sort of September time, going back, I've been sort of volunteering for Young Life. Many of you know the organization, and we do a Monday kids club at Wildlife, and I'd been doing that for a year, going into my second year, and it was such a privilege to go back and to continue to serve, and just to see all the kids there that I've been able to build a relationship with, and just continuing that sort of servant attitude, and something that I've really been enjoying. Additionally, some of you may know Kerry. She invited me to start doing outreach here at the Forest School every Wednesday. So I've been doing that for almost a year now. Every Wednesday, coming to a group of year sevens who probably none of them know Christ, but we get to share our joy through games and through lots of sweets that they get very excited for, in the hope that we can invite them to our clubs and then share a bit of Jesus with them. That's also been so incredible for me, continuing with that service mindset, and that's been a real blessing on my life, in the way that in my uncertainty for what I want to do in my future, for a career, that actually the Lord has provided me with a passion of service, and that even in my waiting, He has something for me to do, and that's something I've been very grateful for. Sort of coming into the new year, after looking at a bunch of courses, I found this software engineering course that I had huge interest in, and that I've been doing now for 3 months, with the hope to sort of add something to my resume. There is a job offer at the end of it, but it's optional. So again, it's something that I still have to decide when I do finish the course. But I've been really enjoying that. It's been a lot more practical and hands-on, which I feel like it's something that's a learning style that's better suited to me. So that's been a real blessing. Also, just being able to be productive and sort of move my life forward a bit. And then sort of also at the beginning of the year, Megan decided to start a Bible study for a group of us. And something that I've been struggling with for a long time is consistently reading my Bible. I'm someone who has dyslexia, which obviously is not an excuse, but it is something that has made my journey in reading the Word a lot more difficult, as I find it very difficult to sort of sit for long periods of time without getting headaches or having to take a break. So being able to join the Bible study and make so many new friends, and I've just relished in that community and the feeling of being accepted and belonging in that community has just impacted me, and also being part of it in the way that I was able to host Bible study, and just being such a core part of that community, I think has really impacted my faith. And sort of coming up towards now, I look back, and something that I didn't realize until recently that the Lord has been doing in my life is the way that I worship. Now, if I look back probably a year and a half ago, I didn't like worship at all. It would be my least favorite part of church. I'd sit and stare at the words. I wouldn't even sing. And throughout the year, very slowly, I feel that the Lord has really opened up my heart and opened up my mind, and given me a gift that I never thought I'd really wanted or never thought I'd need, and that's just the absolute love to worship the Lord. And now I can sit here today and throw my hands up and praise the Lord with all my heart. It's been such a revelation for me, and even just recently, it's just how much I love worship. And there's an absolute, my favorite part of church today is getting to praise the Lord. So that is something huge that has happened in the last year for me that I didn't even realize until recently. And it's just so wonderful to see how the Lord works in you in such sneaky ways. And sort of looking forward, tomorrow me and Asha fly out to Arizona to go serve at a camp there called Lost Canyon, and I'm just so excited to see what the Lord has in store for me. And Ben and Rule. We're all going to Arizona to serve, similar to what I did last year, and I'm so excited to see what the Lord has to do and what He's got in store for me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, everyone. Hi, I'm Ethan. For those who I don't know yet, I've been away for the last few months. I'm JP and Sharon's eldest, and I'm just so honored to be here to talk to you guys today. I'm so excited for this, and what amazing testimonies from my brothers. I love these guys, and I'm so excited for what they're going to do in America. They're going to do awesome stuff. But yeah, I'll preface this by saying I've been a Christian now for 3 years. I believed in Jesus when I was 16. But yeah, that's all it really was. It was always just I believed He was real. Never acted on it until almost exactly a year ago. It was June 26th when something big really happened in my life, in my personal life, that really forced me to just reevaluate where I was going, what direction I was headed, and who I wanted to be. And yeah, I don't mean to get so dark so early, but that night, I really contemplated killing myself. And I remember sitting on the floor of my bedroom for hours at night, just pleading and begging with God to help me. Just begging for His mercy and His friendship, because I just felt alone in that one moment. It was my mom's birthday, and they'd gone out to eat, and I just wanted to be alone that night, which was a bad choice, but it's got a good ending. And yeah, I was just sat there just for like 2 hours, just on my knees, just begging, and that's where I really encountered the love of Christ Jesus for the first time. It was just that He just told me, like, I'm here with you. You're not going to do this alone. Sorry if I get emotional, but yeah, and then that next morning was such a crazy high compared to that low. And yeah, I decided I'm going to buy a Bible, and if I don't want my life, I'm going to give it to someone who does. So I'm going to really give this thing a go. And I bought a Bible. I was finding such joy in reading it and studying it daily and praying, not just for me anymore, not just when I needed something, but just to talk to the man who saved me. And yeah, it was such a joyful and like weird experience, but I'm so grateful for all the people who were with me at that time. So many believers around me who were there to help me get over what had happened and look forward to what was coming. And it was so awesome. And about a month later, I know they mentioned the camp in Scotland. We were all going up, a bunch of us from Greenhouse and some other friends who were coming. It was awesome. And I'd gone the last 2 years in a row. This would be my third year, but something was just different about it. I was going as just a different person this time. And I went, and it was so, so great. The best thing for me was that they took our phones, which I didn't want them to do, but they did. And it really allowed me to spend, at work, I was in the dishes, I was just washing dishes 10 hours a day. It was horrible. But it gave me a lot of free time, and I was really in the Word for like 3+ hours a day. It was so, so good. And I would do that, and I would read my Bible. And when I was reading it one day, I met a man called Brian, who's from Texas. Him and his family were staying at the camp. They were playing music there. And he came and sat with me, and we started speaking. And that kind of became a daily thing. I'd sit and read my Bible, and he'd sit with me, and we'd talk. And he was really wise, and he was always open to any questions I had. So I'd ask him things about what he thought, what his view on this passage was, and how he'd do this. I told him my story, and I really got to know him. Not as well as I did, but over those 2-3 weeks. And I remember walking around the lake towards the end of it, towards the end of the stay, just praying. And I was just trying to learn submission, like trying to see what I can give to God that I haven't let go of, that He wants. And I was like, if there are friendships in my life that aren't honoring to you, please get rid of them or improve them to your standard, Lord. Or if there are habits in my life that are dishonoring to you, get rid of them. And at that point, I was about to go full-time in what I thought was my dream job. For those of you who don't know, I'm a really weird animal nerd. And I had this job that allowed me to work with some crazy stuff for a very wealthy individual, and I was super excited to start full-time at that right out of college. And I said, in that prayer, I said, if my job is not where you want me, take it away. And the next day, Brian came and sat with me, and he said, hey, I've spoken to my wife, I've spoken to my 2 kids. Do you want to come live with us for a year in Texas? And I was like, oh, not really. But I was like, let me talk to my dad. And I went home. I told my friends in the cabin that night. Came back and spoke to my mom and dad and all my other friends in the church. I was like, and no one said no. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I quit my job and I left to go to Texas. And that was also kind of the 3 stages of when I first believed Jesus was real at 16, gave my life to Him June 26th, and then submitted to Him on that walk, and when I let Him have full control. Those are kind of the 3 main stages for me. And yeah, I went to Texas January 14th this year. I was meant to stay for 6 months. That was the most I could get on my visa. And yeah, it was the best time ever. I got to live with Brian and his 2 sons and his wife in his home, and that was awesome. And I got to do some things I never thought I would do. I got to meet some crazy people who really live by faith and put it into and really lived out their belief. I got to do some crazy things. I was involved in shooting competitions and trying to wrestle cows at 1 a.m. And yeah, I didn't think I would do that, but I did, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, but the main takeaway was those mornings and afternoons with Brian, where every morning he'd come, open my door and go, son's awake, I'm awake, and pull my blanket off and wake me up to study the Bible. And I'd sit with him for hours in the morning before we started work. He's a carpenter and he has his own shop, so we weren't constructed by time. And then we'd speak for as long as it took to do whatever. We were just learning together. And then I'd work with him for 8+ hours a day in his shop. He was teaching me, and he couldn't get away from me. Any questions I had, he would answer. I would make him, and I'd be like, oh, what do you think? Who do you know who can answer this? And yeah, it was such a awesome time where he just poured into me. Whatever he had, he gave it to me. He held nothing back, and he was really a great spiritual father for me in that time where I really needed to distance myself and plant new roots and really establish myself on Christ's love and His Word. And I was able to do that with his help, and it was awesome. And then about 3 months into that stint in the US, we were driving back from church, and I got a phone call from my previous boss, and he said, hey, do you want to come to India? And I said, no. And and then he made me an offer, and I said, okay. And I went and spoke to everyone about it. And it was a yes again. And I called him. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And he said, okay, plane leaves in 10 days. Be there. I said, okay. And I booked a flight quickly back to the UK. I spent a weekend here in April, and then I flew out again after 2 days. I just came to see everyone. I wanted to I miss my friends and family, and I came. And then these last 3 months I've been out in India. It's very hot. It's very wet. And I've been managing a large collection of animals out there. That's what I've been doing. A lot of reptiles. It's not a fun job for most people, but I love it. And yeah, it's been awesome. But I have really been the only practicing believer out there among a team of 4,000 people who work there. So that has been tough, where it's almost felt like the 3 months in America were a season of fellowship with believers, and then this next 3 months was just fellowship with God, just me and him. And it was so great. It was definitely a struggle at the start to trying to get into that routine. But as soon as he helped me get into that, it was just skyrocketed. Like, it's been so much fun. And yeah. And the routine with work is pretty hard. I do 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, no days off. But I get those mornings and evenings with him where it's just me and him. And I'm jumping around in my room, like, worshiping, and I get complaints from the people below me, and I tell them to go away. And yeah, it's been awesome. It's been such an amazing time. But I'm back here for the next while. I don't know how long. They've asked me to get a work visa, but I'm not sure if I'm meant to go back. So yeah, I'm here for the next while, and I'm so grateful that I'm here and I'm with all my friends and family. Thank you so much.
Right, where do we go now? So I'm going to read the next part of Hebrews. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer, the perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart.